Okay, in this video, we're going to go over the way to mass clean up 1099s in your vendors. Okay, so a lot of times we have, started our file, we've worked in it for a little while, and then we realize we need to go back in and fill in all of our vendor information as far as 1099s go. Okay, now you should be, of course, accepting or receiving the W-9 before making any payments to the vendor, and then you can enter the 1099 information in at that point when you receive the W-9. But of course, we all know it doesn't always happen that way. So first things first, in the vendor center here, I just edited a vendor, an existing one. I want to show you down here, you have your tax ID number, and that's where you can enter that. And you want to be able to, if this vendor is eligible for 1099, you want to check off that box, okay? So now you have 400 different vendors that you need to fill in information for. It can be kind of a pain to go in there and, double click and go to a conditional, transaction ID, all that stuff. So that can be kind of frustrating. So there are a couple things that you can do. First things first, you can go ahead and import from an Excel file. And if you do the advanced import over here, we're going to do a mapping. Okay, let me select a file real quick. Okay, and we're going to add a mapping over here. But it's still thinking for me. Okay, select a sheet, add a new mapping, and we're going to say vendor. All right, now in here, you can say, is the vendor eligible for 1099? And this will be a Y or an N in the field, or yes or no. And then tax ID number, you can fill it in here. So you can pull from an Excel spreadsheet where you have headers of the vendor name, the tax ID number, and the 1099 information, and mass import it over. Okay. The other thing that you can do, let's go export. You can export your vendor list. And we're going to go ahead and put it here. Okay. Now notice when I go to open an IIF file, that is Intuit Interchange Format, and I can't open it just from double clicking on it. I just saved it to my desktop. I actually have to go in here and open it inside of Excel. Just one of those weird Windows things. So I click on my desktop here and I look and it's not there, right? So I have to, instead of saying all Excel files, because it's not an Excel file, it's an IIF file, I have to say all files there, and then I'll be able to see that. Okay, this little screen is going to pop up. I'm going to say finish. Now all the stuff on top up here, I actually don't need. So everything going down to where it starts the vendors. So I'm going to right click and delete that. Now it's not deleting it from your system. It's just deleting it from this IIF file. Okay. So on here, I could go scrolling over to the side. And here's a field for my tax ID number. Okay, so we're going to put in a couple of them here. All right. There's a couple fake tax ID numbers. And then if you notice, I have to go all the way over to the side over here, and it says, is this 1099 eligible? N means that box is not checked. Y means that box is checked. Okay. So because I'm not going to affect any of these other vendors down here, I'm actually going to delete them off of this too, so it goes a little bit faster when I re-import it back in. Now if I save this, it gives me a warning. Are you sure you want to save? Yes. I'm going to exit out of it. You have to have it closed in order to import it into QuickBooks. So now again, I could go in and go to Utilities, Import, and say Import IIF file. And I'm going to scroll down to that vendor IIF file, and it overwrites everything in here. So now if I go open up the H-Hung Limited, it put in there the tax ID number that I entered, and then it also marked it as eligible for 1099. So it's a quick way to import in and make the changes for your 1099 vendors.